house needs painting, the grass needs mowing. Where's he at?
Hank, this is Tom. You told me to call you when they're biting. They're biting.
Gone.
Hey, and welcome to Hank Parker Off the Water. My granddaughter Sarah Beth said she watched the last podcast I did with my buddy Danny Bennett, and she saw that we were occupied with each other, and she said, I think I'll take a pass this week. I'll join you again next week. So Sarah Beth's got the week off, and it's my buddy Danny Bennett is back, and we are super excited about announcing what we have got going on. So I hope we've kept you in suspense. I hope you're really excited about what we're going to bring up today. But Danny, I'm going to set the stage with I am really involved in high school fishing. I see a chance for our sport to grow. For the first time out of 45 years of being involved in the fishing industry, we have got a fresh breath of life in high school fishing. And that even goes down to middle schools and all the way up to collegiate fishing. So I'm excited about the opportunity of putting together a fundraising opportunity for high school fishing.
Yes, sir.
And so we have hooked up. I have, for the last couple of years, I've traveled. I've worked with a lot of different high schools. I've done seminars. I've spent time with coaches. And one of the problems is lack of funds. They reach out to their community to try to help the hardware store help them out, or the Pizza Hut, or whatever local businesses that are in town that can possibly help. Some townships are more able than others, but even with the best, there's some void of finance and funds to get the job done. And I'm going to tell you something that's taken place that bothers the hound out of me, and that is some schools have grown to the point they don't have enough participation with boaters, and a lot of these kids have to set out. Mm-hmm. They're not able to go. That bothers me. Mm-hmm. So what can we do to help these schools? So for 2 years, I have gone to different companies, rod and reel companies, flashlight companies, pocket knife companies, all these different places, looking on how we can put together products for these kids to be able to sell that would raise them a substantial amount of money. You know, Danny, the bands at school have faced this problem for decades. And they solved their problem by selling wrapping paper and chocolate bars. But for these fishermen, $2 off of a candy bar is not going to be enough money to sustain what they're trying to achieve.
Right.
So they need to make $7, $6, $7, $8, $9 off of one sale to generate enough money for a 30-man team to really have an impact on what they're trying to achieve.
Right, right.
So I'd gone to a lot of these different companies and flashlights, pocket knives. I'm thinking about, a high school kid's got a grandpa, he's got an aunt or uncle, a neighbor. Man, a flashlight, everybody needs a flashlight, pocket knife. And then I had a guy tell me one day, he said, I appreciate what you're doing, and I see what you're trying to achieve, but you're going to paint yourself in a corner if you come up with products that last for multiple years. Because grandpa buys a pocket knife this year, he don't need another pocket knife, or he buys a flashlight, he don't need another flashlight. So you need to be looking at an apparel company. Well, there are no apparel companies in the world that's going to give up 50, 60% of their profit. They can't do that. It ain't going to happen.
There's one.
That's what's so amazing. So, okay, I start talking and I start looking, and we're talking, okay, well, if you put it all together, we may be able to give up 15%. That's not enough. Man, we need 40, 50%. We need some good numbers. These kids need to sell a hat, Danny. They need to make $8, $9. They don't need to make $2, $3. They need to have an incentive to raise this money, and if they sell to grandpa, aunt, and uncle, and neighbor, they need to make $50, $60 to contribute to their school team.
Right.
How can we do that? Well, there's no company available. There's nobody. First of all, you're going to be selling to direct to the consumer. So your retail outlets are going to be extremely upset with you.
Right.
So you're going to have to find a company that is small enough that the owner can make the decision. He doesn't have a board. He doesn't have a panel of executives that got to get approval. He's the rules. How in the world are you going to find a company that's going to have the capability to service 6, 7, 8, 9,000 high school teams around the country that is in that position? I found one right under my nose, and I shared my vision and my dream with Danny, and he said, I'm in as long as you're in. This whole thing is contingent upon your passion, your connections, all the things that you contribute. I'm not going to put my company up and put them on the spot to make all this happen, to get all the logistics working and go through all this expense to have you change your mind or go work with another company.
Okay.
The only way I'll do this is if you invest in my company. I want you to be a part of an owner. I want you to be vested, and I want you to continue that passion through my company and not other ideas with other things. I said, I'm in. I'm in. I love your company. The last podcast that we did, I don't know if you got to see it. If you missed it, I wish you'd go back and look at it. But I told about who Danny is, who Huckleberry Apparel is, how our relationship was formed, and how it was solidified, and how we worked on this project. So here's what we're doing. I had this bright idea of printing some hats, some shirts, some pullovers, hoodies that said, I support high school fishing. And we do that in a limited number, and we let these high school kids that are raising funds for their particular team, their particular school, to go to their parents, their cousins, their uncles, their aunts, and anybody they could to buy a product. Danny said, whoa, 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 whoa. Why would you do that? I'll open my whole catalog. Anything that Huckleberry Apparel has, I'll give these kids over half of the profit. I said, you'd be willing to do that? He said, I love the cause. I would be willing to do that. So they can make a significant amount of money every time they sell a hat, a T-shirt. Now tell me, here's the plan.
Okay.
If a school signs up, we're going to assign them a number. How do we go about doing that?
Okay, so we'll have a link that'll be attached to this podcast, and we'll do pre-registration. In fact, we'll definitely be at the Bassmaster Classic doing some registering as well. Let
me hold you. That's where we're going to unveil this thing to the public at the Bassmaster Classic coming up in about, 3 weeks?
About 3 weeks.
Yeah. So that's going to be the big unveiling.
Yeah.
All right, now go ahead.
Not be doing much sleeping between now and then, as it were. But we'll have a link, so you could click down however you guys set it up, and it's very, very simple. All you'll do is enter in the school name, who the coach is, whoever you would want your contact to be, email and phone number. And that's you saying, my school wants to participate in this fundraising, okay? And at that point, we are going to break it up in regions. The thing is, although at our warehouse, we have a huge warehouse, and it, like he said, if you looked at some of the other stuff, state-of-the-art equipment, we don't do anything halfway. Everything we've got is to produce a top-notch product. We've been fortunate enough to work with huge companies all around the world, and I told Hank, we can deliver a high-end brand is what it is, built around fishing. These young guys, they're like me, they're like you. They're crazy about it. We're not talking about shirts and hats just for your grandpa, although we want him to buy one too. But these are nice high-end shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, hats, whole 9 yards. They sign up. We're going to break this down into regions because we're going to take care of all of the hard stuff. All right, these kids are just going to we're going to provide them a link with the online store. As we come into your region, we'll just say Georgia, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, maybe Tennessee. Your link will be live for about 2 weeks. Those kids will have an opportunity to go sell for those 2 weeks. When that link cuts off, we go crazy at the office, printing, embroidering, packaging, shipping these individual products, while during those 2 weeks, the next region is selling theirs.
Let me stop you right there. So let's say the region, let's just say it's North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Let's say that's a region.
Okay.
All right, they have 2 weeks to make the sales.
Yes.
All right, and then you're going to ship that product out.
Mm-hmm.
If I bought one, would my hat be shipped to my home, or would it be shipped to the school to be distributed to me? So I don't have to wait on the school to get its product and then unpack it and then the kid deliver it to me. You're going to ship it to me, correct?
Yeah, so here's the deal. Now, you will have to pay a shipping cost because we've got to get it to your house. But the other side of that coin is we want this, just like you're a man of integrity. Your name's tied to it. My name's tied to it. I want it to go off perfectly. So we've been doing this for many, many years, and we've done it all different ways. We've done it where we ship one box, just for sake of the story, ship one box to an individual high school. In that box, a kid has their bag with their name, with everything they sold, and then they've got to deliver it. Well, here's the problem. Little Bobby may not be that great at delivering his. He may be meant to, but he didn't. Well, then if people call me, I say, well, I'm not sure what happened, but when it left, so it works way better for us to handle it that way. It goes straight to you. The school doesn't have to handle it. The high school fishing coaches, he doesn't have one more headache on his plate. The kids don't have to be organized. All they've got to do is have enough work ethic and drive to bring their part to the game, whatever that may be, 12 pieces per student, that will raise a significant amount of money for a 20-person team. If we're able to give around $10 and each student sells 12 pieces, that's essentially the backbone of it. And we will ship it directly to the people that ordered it. It'll be clean. It'll be good. When the sale's done, we cut a check to that school. It's over.
All right, so now Martha and I both I want a hat, and Martha wants a T-shirt.
Okay.
Now, if it's sent to one address, will that be just one shipping charge? You can put her hat, or my hat, and her T-shirt in one package. That's
correct.
So and I may want to get a hat for my grandson Alex. Sarah Beth may want a shirt, so I may end up getting 10 pieces sent to my house.
Yes.
And we can do that for one shipping charge.
That's right. As long as it works off of weight. As long as you do it in one order. Now, if you process an order and come back tomorrow and determine the other grandkids, that we couldn't put it in that box. That box is gone.
So, but that gives an incentive for a household to buy more than one product.
Multiple products. Yes, they'll get more bang for their buck on their shipping. Absolutely.
All right. Now, here's the way I look at this, and you correct me if I'm wrong. You're way more advanced in retail than I am, and I look at this as an opportunity for a student, for a school, for a team to be self-supported, self-aligned, where they don't have to go to the local hardware store. And I know it's tough. I talk to these coaches all the time, and they say, man, you just feel like you're walking around with your hand out. And I hate that. They almost hate to see you coming. So we want to eliminate that. We want it to be good. We want to give somebody a value. So if we're asking you to help our fishing team, we're going to give you a $30 item for $30. It's not like we're going to jack it up. It's going to be what would normally be a purchase that you would make. But instead of taking that profit and letting it become the company's profit, we're going to give the majority of that profit to these schools. And so now I look at this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I look at this as an opportunity for that student to mature in a way that, hey, they're controlling their own destiny. If they're really pumped up about supporting their team, man, they can put forth an effort. They can sell 30 or 40 pieces.
That's right. That's right.
and raise $300 or $400 per student.
That's right.
And all of a sudden, you got a 30-man team, you got a couple of grand. You've got some real money to work with.
Yep.
Not like if you'd have sold 50 candy bars and made $200.
Well, and two things to that, Mr. Hank, is this. As a business owner myself, listen, we have a heart for our community. We desire to help. But there are weeks where I have 10 different people show up at my office wanting donations.
Yep,
we could legitimately work all week just to give it away.
Yep.
And you want to, and as a business owner, you have to. This gives them a break. Everybody wears high-end stuff, like the hat I've got on, the vest I'm wearing, this kind of stuff. Very, very, very high-end. When you're a bass fisherman, we're going to have an illustrated spinnerbait, on the shirt. We're gonna make this stuff sharp. It's gonna be stuff that you'll get down at your local boutique. This is what we're speaking of. High-end, very, very stylish. So everybody wins, and it's never ending. You never not need a new shirt, right?
That's right. So you're not painting yourself in a corner. So next year when they have their 2-week window of opportunity to make sales, people got a year-old hat and a year-old T-shirt. It's time to replace it.
That's right.
And so it's a perpetual deal almost. If you had a good experience, you said, man, that was a really good hat. That was a great shirt.
Yeah.
It wore well. It held up well. The colors didn't fade. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to get me another one of those. So it becomes almost a perpetual deal and makes it easier to grow and expand and get more money for these schools every year.
Well, and here's the other good part, and I know you and I are still hammering out these details, so I don't want to put any horse in front of the buggy there, but there's nothing like coming up against a situation where you're just the underdog. We want to give everybody an equal opportunity, and what we mean by that is we've tossed around the idea that per 100 pieces sold, your school gets put in the basket at least one entry per 100 pieces sold. And at the end of this fundraising campaign, at the end of this drive, we're going to do some drawing out of that. So the more you sell, the more you get will then possibly be on one of your shows, and then place 2 and place 3, we will give some substantial financial donations. So there's over and above just the preliminary sale. There's also other stuff as well, like the drawing per 100 pieces sold. And like I say, 100 pieces may sound like something, but you got to remember, more than anybody. I'm a nobody. But when you're a bass fisherman, you got to hustle. If you want it, you've got to get out there. So what we're trying to teach these, I've spoken to a lot of the coaches myself. Part of this deal is teaching these young anglers work ethic and hustle and what they've got to do to succeed, and putting it on their shoulders, where they use their social media to go out and push this product. We're going to give them an online link, a live online. They can forward it on all of their social media stuff. They can share it with their school. It's just like any store that you would see online. So we're going to hand deliver them an opportunity to make this work. And when you, like I say, you and I were talking, one school in Alabama or Texas that had 140 students, is that right?
It's crazy, yeah. Some of these schools have got tremendous, I don't remember the exact number. I got old timers. I don't remember. But I was blown away when I started looking at how many schools there are and some of these teams, how many members they have. There is just an incredible need, and this is, I feel, a great opportunity. And something I've been working on for 2 years. I've tried to match it up. I've went to a lot of sponsors that I work with and shared the idea. And I understand a lot of them cannot do it because of their retail partner obligations. They can't sell direct to the consumer. It's going to create a hardship for them. I get that. I understand. And I'll be honest with you, after about the last 6 months, after about a year and a half working on this project, I'd gotten pretty discouraged. And the whole time, Danny, you were right there. You were under my nose, and I never even thought about it. And then I thought, God, what a perfect fit. And so when we started talking about it, can we make this happen? And immediately, yes, we can, but you're going to have to join forces. This is going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of effort to put the infrastructure together, to do all the processing, to get the orders, to get the labels printed, to get these products shipped to individual homes where these orders are placed. There's a lot behind the scenes that have to take place, but I'm willing to do that.
Well, and same thing with us, again, a reminder, this isn't something new, just like we mentioned about Aaron's thing. This is what we're doing, just more volume. We already have the online stores. We already do the fundraising. We already give back in a major way. We already do the processing. But I just was not, there's a lot of potential opportunity out there. I was uninterested to work with anybody other than Hank Barker. And the reason for that, I've been around you for years. I've watched you my entire life. You're a man of integrity. People believe in you. I have no desire to do anything if it's not legitimate. I want to see these young anglers. Listen, when I look at, I'm getting older. I'm part of that community that we look around and we talk about where are we headed as a country. And I view this as, it's twofold. That part of my heart wants to help these sick babies and these older folks that are battling cancer. We've done a little bit for everybody. We've helped young people in four-wheeler wrecks. We've just had a family that stage 4 colon cancer, 52 years old. We lost him, but we're still helping. That family is my family. There's so much that we do, but with this is a different spectrum, but in the same realm. We have an opportunity to really do something good. Our youth, we need bass fishing.
We do.
We need it. I agree with you. You're passionate about it. I'm passionate about it, and this is an opportunity. So we've got the resources and the means to do it. But I don't want this to be something where somebody is just talking. I want somebody that legitimately cares about their name, about the product we push out, and that I could lean on and say, wherever my partner is, he's doing right. He's promoting this, and he believes in me, and I believe in him. And there was nothing else to ask. I wanted to be partners with you.
Our greatest challenge, I feel like, as an outdoorsman as a whole, whether it's hunting or fishing, our greatest challenge is to overcome the cell phone. Now, we're not going to eliminate it by any stretch of the imagination, but there's so many kids that nothing is tangible. It's all make-believe. Mm-hmm. And they fish on their phone. They play video games of hunting on their phone. There's nothing that will replace the real experience. There's nothing like breathing the air, touching that fish, feeling that tug on the end of the line, realizing how difficult it is to land that fish, and go through all the experience that's real. Mm-hmm. It's real. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is so important to where we are today with our kids, man. We got to get out of this make-believe world. And I don't mean to be ugly. I've fought my weight my whole life. And when I keep my weight down is when I'm out doing things, not sitting on the couch watching TV or playing on a handheld device.
Well, I tell you
Physical fitness is important.
It's important, and with children, I don't care. I know our world around us has changed, but this is a fact. This is a fact. If you're watching this, if you can't agree with this, you've just never experienced it. You take a child, you take a little 6-year-old, just grab one, anywhere in the city, in the country, wherever. You get a cricket, or a Louisiana pink, as we call them down where I am. I don't know what y'all call them, red wigglers, whatever y'all call them. You get a big old Louisiana pink or a cricket, and you toss it off in that dock or an old farm pond, and that cork goes under, especially on an old brim buster. When a big old bluegill's just about a pound that you can't get your hand around, and you watch that kid, he's done.
He's gonna smile.
I promise, if you'll stand there with that child will not put that pole down to go grab that game. Yep. That's a fact.
Yep.
All right, that's important. And furthermore, listen, for me and for you, I'll never forget this several years ago at the Harris Chain. I grew up fishing farm ponds and 1-acre lakes, and I thought I was an outdoorsman. Went to the Harris Chain about 11 years ago. They had an FLW tournament there. I couldn't hardly get a bite. First time I'd ever been to big water like that. And I went in there, one thing, it lit my fire, and here we are today. And bass fishing and fishing, I brought that up to say this, it's addictive. It gives these kids, when they feel that tug, and then the more you learn, the more there is to learn, and the more you want to learn, and it consumes you, and they enjoy it, and that's a good thing. That's why I want to be a part of this alongside you.
Well, and I see a hurdle that could actually put a lot of these schools out of business. They just can't raise enough funds to sustain themselves. And there's not enough hardware stores or Pizza Huts or Walmarts to contribute money for their cause. And so they hit that roadblock or that hurdle, and they shut down. They scale back. A lot of these kids that they don't have the opportunity to fish because they don't have the funds to pay for the gas for their non-boater or a boater to take them, and they're just up against the wall. And so here's an opportunity. Is this going to solve all the problems? No. We still need more boaters. We need more volunteers. We need bass clubs to take it upon themselves and say, one of our tournaments every month is going to be taking high school fishermen out. We need to figure out how to get that going. But the number one hurdle is lack of resources financially.
Yep.
So we're going to try to get that cleaned up.
Yep.
Then we'll move to number 2, and we'll move to number 3. We're going to work with these schools. We're going to figure out a way how to keep these high schools motivated, financed, and progressing. That is so important. So there's a lot of obstacles, but the number one, let's take it by the horn. Let's give them an opportunity to figure out how to fund their own support and support their own cause, and give them an opportunity. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Let's get this one done. Then we'll face the next challenge when we get this one taken care of.
Yeah, yeah. And we're going to try to educate. We don't have all the wrinkles, ironed out yet, but I know that our Pierce County Touchdown Club has a bass tournament. We really, really, really push in the community. My friend Brad with Mossy Pond, he allows us to host this tournament there. And actually, Pierce County doesn't yet have a team. Now, Ware County does, Bacon County does, counties around us do, but we want to use this as an opportunity to educate people, to help them. So if you're watching this and you don't yet have a team, look, let us be a voice that helps show you, hey, we can fundraise. Worst case scenario, if you can't get a team formed, raise some money to go fishing.
Yeah, well, that's where my grandson, he's in a little small school up in the mountains of North Carolina, and they don't have a team. They don't have the resources to start a team. Yeah. Well, let's give them a hope. Let's give them a chance. Let's give them something that holds that carrot out there and says, hey, we can achieve this. We can do this.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what I want to do. I worked on this thing. I went to so many different companies, and there were just so many reasons, and none of them were illegitimate. All the companies that I talked to all wanted to do something to help. They just didn't quite have the structure that would allow them to put it all together. So now we found this. And Danny, my hope is that some of these rod and reel companies, some of these lure companies, some of these other people will say, I love what they're doing. We're going to jump in there and help too.
Yeah.
And man, this thing will grow. This will grow.
Yep.
We want to be the official apparel company, and we want to be there for them. But I don't want to be everything to them. I don't want to be the guy that collects the rods and reels and do fulfillment or the line or the lures or whatever else it is. I hope more people will be challenged by this. They'll be motivated by this, and they'll get involved to help as well.
Yep. That's what we need. We need participation. We need people to believe in it, which is why you're so important in what we're doing. And like a fella told me years ago, he said, "Show them." So we're about to show the world what we're fixing to do for these young people. So coaches, folks out there, get in line, help us. We're gonna make the path. We're gonna create the venue and the avenue, and we're gonna work around the clock to make all this work, literally around the clock. So help us. We'll do our part.
I use this quote all the time from my hero, Forrest Wood, and it's no use to dream if you're not going to work.
There you go.
And it's no use to work if you're not going to dream. So, hey, you got a dream of being a fisherman? Here's an opportunity to work to make it happen. Here's something that you can sustain what you got going on at your particular school, and you can make a difference. And so I'm so tickled. This is the perfect alignment. I'd been looking and looking and looking, almost discouraged to the point I gave up when Danny, the light bulb came on. Danny has got the perfect company. Is he willing? When I laid it all out on the table, he said, I'm just as willing as you are. If you'll join forces with me collectively, we'll bring it to the table, and we will make it happen.
Well, thank you for having me, and I just want to say in closing, it's an honor. I give the Lord the credit for it. I'm excited about it. And let me also say, none of this can happen without a good team. So for my team back home, without my entire crew that puts it together and makes it work, I couldn't do it. So thank you to each one of you, and let's get it.
Well, we're throwing it all out there. We're putting it all together. And if it does not work, then I'm going to feel good that I did everything in my power to make a difference. And if it does work, then I'm going to be excited and going to continue to be a part of it until the cows come home.
At the Classic, I'm excited. Come see us at the Classic.
Yeah,
we'll have apparel, we'll have sign up, we'll have it all. Come see us.
Yeah. If you're part of a high school fishing team or a coach or know somebody that's going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma for the Bassmaster Classic coming up in about 3 weeks, tell them, hey, look for the Huckleberry Apparel booth. I'm going to have some Hank Parker Classic spinnerbaits there. We're going to have some Hank Parker apparel there made by Huckleberry Apparel. We got a T-shirt that I think is to die for that Danny's art department designed. It's got Hank Parker Classic spinnerbait. Best looking shirt I've ever seen.
Can't imagine why you like it.
Absolutely. Not only me, I told Martha that I said, hey, you ain't going to sell any of these things. And when I saw them, I thought, well, maybe you will sell them. They came up with the idea. My wife, Martha, is running my bait shop, hpbaits.com. And we got some Huckleberry hats and T-shirts. And when they started talking, and I thought, well, people are not going to buy hats and T-shirts through the mail. I've been proven wrong so many times that I'm getting used to it. So I was way wrong, but there's some really good-looking stuff. So we'll have some of that at the Classic.
We have a bunch of it, things that aren't anywhere to be seen now. We're gonna unveil it at the Classic.
I think that's exciting. So Huckleberry Apparel, Hank Parker is going together and going to offer high school fishing teams the opportunity to be self-sustained financially. And we're excited. We're unveiling. And Danny Bennett is the man.
Put them on the scales.
Put them on the scales, Danny.
Put them on the scales.
Hey, I got to tell you, everybody, I spoke at a church last night right outside of Montgomery, Alabama, and Dewey Kendrick came.
No.
Yep, and I told him, put him on the scales. Dewey Kendrick was the weighmaster for pretty much my career at Bass. Harold Sharp started, then Dewey stepped in, and it was so good to see Dewey last night. But I told him we were doing a T-shirt that says, put them on the scales, Dewey. So he was all excited about it.
Put them on the scale.
So that's awesome, man. Well, tell them goodbye, Danny.
All right. Goodbye. Look forward to seeing everybody at the Classic, and look forward to meeting you all over the next, from now on, I hope, all over the U.S. We do a lot of traveling, a lot of handshaking, a lot of educating, and I'm excited.
Thank you, sir. I don't know when the cows come home or how long, but that's how long we're going to be here. Now, I sure appreciate you watching. Man, I need you so much to subscribe. Go up there and hit that little button and subscribe to our YouTube. That's so important to us. We're trying so hard, and we sure appreciate your support. And it's a lot better when you subscribe. So do that for us, and be with us next time. Thanks for watching this podcast or listening, whichever you're doing. A combination of both, perhaps. But we appreciate you, and I'd like to say God bless you, and we'll see you next time.
The house needs painting, the grass needs mowing. Where's he at?
Hank, this is Tom. You told me to call you when they're biting. They're biting.
Gone fishing.